artists, it's Mrs. Rhodes here. I'm going to demonstrate how to create our Sailboat Seascape paper collage. We are going to be starting with our waves today, and I really want you to learn 3 words related to an element of art space. So we have foreground, middle ground, and background. Our sailboats are going to match these spaces on our paper. We're also going to have a sunset of some sort with the added painted paper in the back. So here are my 3 waves and my sunset. And finally, we are going to add sailboats on each of our layers. So notice a sailboat in the foreground, middle ground, and background. What do we notice about the size as they go back? They get smaller. The things that are close to us are largest. In the middle, they are medium size, and in the back, they are the smallest size. So our sailboat size will match as we go back. I also noticed we have some white sails. We have a really fun holographic flag on each of our sailboats. Notice the size, large, medium, small, also changes with our sailboat size. So our papers today, we have a couple different layers for first our waves. So we have 3 papers for our waves. We also have a sunset, large rectangle paper of some size. First, we're going to prepare our waves, and then we're going to attach them to our sunset. So your 3 waves start as a rectangle. You're going to choose one side of your wave to cut a wavy edge with your scissors. So I've done one already. I'm going to decide which side I'm going to cut a little bit off of. And I'm not going to cut too much off because we want that beautiful painted color. I'm going to recycle this scrap later, making sure I'm keeping my art room clean for the next artist. I have my 3 waves. Now I'm going to be using liquid glue today. Our liquid glue bottles, remember, have to be twisted to open. So there should be a space right here. And then I have to hold it upside down for a little bit because just like ketchup, it's all down here right now, so it needs to go to the end. I'm going to flip over my first wave. So I like to take a second and decide which wave I want to be first, medium, and in the front. Notice that my front wave is on top, not behind. The biggest mistake artists make with this project is they glue them like this. So now I can't see the wavy edge, I can only see the straight edge. So to avoid that, we're going to glue our back wave for our background wave, and I'm just putting dot dot, not a lot, on the wavy edge. Notice I'm not even putting any glue on the straight edge. We're only putting dot dot, not a lot, on the wavy edge. I'm going to flip this over. Now instead of putting it here on the bottom, I'm going to scooch down as far as I possibly can. I notice there's a space here, so I'm going to scooch up a little bit and just scooch the tiniest bit so my dots are on the background. I want to see as much of my sky as I possibly can. If I were to put it there, I would cover up about 1/4 of my sky. Now my middle ground, I'm again just putting dot dot, not a lot, on my wavy edge. I do about 5 dots. I'm going to flip this over, and instead of putting it here, I'm going to scooch down as far as I possibly can. Scooch up till that space is filled, and I'm paying attention to the edges that I'm lining up with my previous wave. And gently press. This one's trying to come up, so I'm going to press him down as well. My final wave, flip. Where do I put my glue? On the wavy edge. Dot dot, not a lot. I always like to put a dot for sure on the corner. And again, I'm going to scooch as far as I can. Scooch up a tiny bit and gently press. Occasionally during work time today, I'm going to have to push these edges back down because they're going to try to kind of curl up, and I need them to stay. So you just touch gently, and eventually the glue will get kind of tacky and stay. Now that my waves are drying, I've just scooched them aside a little bit. You could also put them on the ground under your table, out of your way, while you work on your sailboat. So now I have a brown piece of paper, it's kind of small. And then I have a white piece of paper. Sometimes it's old painted paper, like I found this random scrap I'm gonna use so it doesn't go to waste. Sometimes it's plain white free draw paper that we then can add designs to later. So it's whatever I have that day. It's something kind of white. So I need to cut 3 triangles out of here, small, medium, large, and I need to cut 3 half circles out of the brown, small, medium, and large. I'm going to start by drawing with a pencil so I don't waste my paper. And I'm going to do the same thing with the sails. Let me grab a pencil. I'm going to start with my brown paper so that I can match my sails to the size. So I need to fit 3 half circles on here. I'm going to start with my biggest, and I'm going to use this whole edge and draw a half circle that goes from edge to edge. Now that's my largest one. If I want, I can kind of adjust the shape until I'm happy with it. I don't even need to erase this because when I glue it, I'll just glue that side down so it's hiding. So there's my large. I'm going to do medium. So I'm just looking at this, making sure it's smaller than that one. And finally, small. 1, 2, 3, small, medium, large. Now I'm going to cut these out. And I'm going to add designs on the front. So this is the back because it has pencil on it. Small, medium, large. I could recycle this scrap, flip these over, and now I'm going to design on the front. So I'm using a Sharpie. I'm doing different types of line. Here's some zigzag, maybe some stripes. I could add more designs inside those lines. And maybe I do circles or a pattern. Showing more elements of art in my half circles. Now I'm going to use these boats to measure my sails because I know my sail has to be the same size or bigger than this boat. So I can set my boat on here. I'm going to push lightly because I am drawing on the front and I don't want my pencil to show later. So here's my large. I'm going to do this so that I can use this lovely spot right here. Notice how I can fit a triangle upside down next to this triangle. Pushing lightly. And finally, my small baby boat. The best part is I can use this half for free draw later. So now I'm going to cut out my sails. I'm going to save this scrap for free draw because it's so fun to use. Maybe someone else wants to use this scrap at my table if they think it looks cool. They could fit their sails on this scrap as well. Now, final step, I'm going to assemble my boats, and then I'm going to add my holographic silver flags on top. Now, this is the part where you're demonstrating to me, Mrs. Rhodes, that you know the element of art, space. Space is one of our 7 elements of art. Of course, we know color is one of our elements. We have line. We demonstrated line. We have value, lightness or dark. We have shape, texture, and space. We're using all of these elements in this lesson, but this is the one I'm really looking for. Notice foreground, middle ground, background. Foreground is the front, middle ground the middle, background is the back. So when we glue our boats, we're going to put the biggest one in the front somewhere, and I'm going to tuck it inside my front wave so it's hiding. It looks like it's now underwater a little bit. We can't really see the bottom of a boat when it's in the water, right? So that's why we're going to tuck our little boat in there. I'm also going to tuck my medium boat. I can put it here or in the middle. And I'm kind of tilting it a little bit so it looks like it's in motion. Finally, I have my small baby boat. I put it in the middle on purpose so that these sails don't block that baby boat. Now, sailboats actually have 2 sails. They have a large side and a big side. So I'm going to cut my sail in half. This side's a little smaller than that side on purpose. And then when I glue them, I'm going to leave some space in between and leave some space underneath. So it looks like they're floating in the wind. All right, I've just glued down my sails. I just put a dot under each corner. So there's 3 dots under each sail. I dropped some glue on here, and that's okay because this glue dries clear, so I'm not even going to worry about it. I could wipe it off if I wanted, but it's just going to dry clear anyway. Now I get to pick out my fancy holographic flags. These flags are so fun. Now you don't want to touch the shiny side if you have glue on your hands, because the glue actually makes it not shiny anymore. It kind of steals the shine. So make sure when you're reaching into this bin for your flags, your hands are clean and dry. Now I'm only going to put 1 dot of glue on the back, and this flag is pretty large, so it's going to go on my large boat. And I can cut the other flags to match my boat size. So I need a smaller flag. So I'm going to cut it a little bit to match my boat size. I just have to cut one edge off. Put 1 little dot. Sometimes if it's really small like this, notice I dropped that flag. I just like to put 1 dot on my paper instead. It's a little easier to manage. So I stick that small flag. Now I need a medium. If I can find a medium, that's great. Otherwise, I can cut it smaller too. Put my 1 dot and stick my flag on top. Now notice my name is not on here anywhere. So our last final step as an artist, we're going to sign our signature on the front corner of our art. And we're going to use my unicorn Sharpie to do that. It's just a silver Sharpie, and it shows up really nicely on our painted paper. All right, last step, I found my silver unicorn Sharpie. I'm gonna sign my first name on the bottom left side, and you're gonna sign your first name right here. I'm just gonna write first name, but you're actually going to sign your first name so I can read it. When I say sign, I just mean write your first name. Don't actually sign it in cursive, because I wanna be able to read it. And then finally, you're gonna put this on the drying rack because it really needs to dry. If we stack them, they're gonna get stuck together.